Okay. I don't know if anybody's here. I don't even know where to look to see. I'm so used to doing this in YouTube.
So, are you not doing it in YouTube?
I'm doing it through StreamYard. So it should be on YouTube as well.
Oh, okay.
It should be relaying to YouTube.
Good.
Let me take a look. I shall make sure.
Like normal.
Supposedly. I don't know if anybody's there. I don't know where to look to see.
Well, I'm pulling it up. It looks like 2 people.
Huh? What'd you say? Oh, Ana's here. Hi, Ana. How's it going? And Paige is here. Paige! I know it's kind of like a weird time for her. It's like for you, it is like, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning or something.
Hey, Ana and Paige.
Hey, she says she can see us both. Nice. I haven't used StreamYard often enough. I know that there's some way I could. Oh, there it is. There they are. Okay. Supposedly we have 4 people here, but there are going to be some people who are probably not going to want to comment. I have to step away for just a second.
Okay. Well, I have 8 sci-fi books to talk about today.
I lost count. I had to get my fan because my goodness, am I the dude. Okay. Sorry, you guys. Paige has something to say.
Oh, Paige.
I finally made it. I took half a day at work today, so I'm actually able to chat. Yay! Oh, and Tara's here.
Hi, Tara.
It's a tea and biscuits miracle. Sorry, I'm a little flabbergasted, you guys. Not flabbergasted, discombobulated. I was explaining to Abi Jean just before I hit the go live button that for the first time in 40 years, my contact lens popped out while I was trying to do my makeup. I mean, I wasn't wearing contact lenses the entire 40 years, but And the last time I did it was when I was in junior high, and it was like that gas permeable hard contact lens BS. Some of you. So, okay, so people are here, and I have a couple of little science fiction ornaments.
Oh, okay.
Of course they do. Of course, I didn't get all my celestial ornaments out. I do have lots of moons and stars, but I do have.
Oh, I like it. Check out my shirt.
Oh, nice. So we've got flying saucers aplenty.
Girls getting abducted.
What? The girls getting abducted? Yeah. So much probing. Oh, the probing. On the plus side, my test results came back negative for HPV.
Okay.
So I also have this stuffy. It is a face-hugging alien, except that now it's a face-hugging kinetic cutie. It is kinetic cutter. And this is how it works. I'm not going to demonstrate on myself because of the aforementioned makeup. I don't want to get her messed up. But I do have this Raggedy Ann. They are both being compensated handsomely for participating in this live stream. So that's the stuff. And Tara's, let's see who we got some comments. Oh, that's an unpleasant sensation. It is. It really is. I don't know specifically what she's talking about, but pretty much everything we've discussed so far. I think it has to do with the aliens and stuff. And Tara says, I have to do a quick errand, but we'll be right back. Well, bring us back some of whatever it is you're getting, especially if it's cough medicine. Not really. Paige says, love the ornament and shirt. Dan has a shirt with UFO abducting a Sasquatch since we live in Squatch territory. Well, that would prove 2 things at once.
Yeah.
And is the alien going to share their research in a peer-reviewed journal? Okay. Yeah, so you said you have 8. I lost count of how many I have, frankly.
Okay. I was thinking that we could alternate.
We could do it that way, or I was also thinking, at least to start, I was going to do kind of by age group and moving up, because I have some middle grade, and I have some YA, and I have some adult. So do you have any middle grade, or should I start off with middle grade?
All mine are adults, so you can start.
Oh, Okay.
notes.
Well, the other thing we could do is if I talk about something that you have like a similar book with a similar theme or something like that, why not jump in?
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
so if I say this is time travel, you can be like, oh, so is this?
Yeah.
How does that
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to go ahead and start with middle grade, but
Oh,
you want to say something else?
I was thinking about it, and especially if you include movies and TV, I am actually a pretty big sci-fi fan.
Oh, me
So
too.
I have more experience with the genre than I kind of thought I did. But yeah,
Mhm.
so
Okay, cool beans. I forgot there are programming notes for the channel for upcoming events on the channel.
oh,
Something
okay.
something came up for Wednesday. So midweek motivation is going to start an hour later than usual. It's going to start at 3 p.m. Eastern. So because something came up. So it'll still be happening just a little bit later. And I might have to go short because of it depends on how I feel. I might be tired. I don't know. But anyway, it will be happening just an hour late. And speaking of things happening off schedule, in 2 weeks' time, you know, I do every other week for not midweek motivation, book talk with Sock. And on 2 weeks from today would be the 28th. I think that's how math and calendars work, given to understand. However, instead of doing it on the 28th of April, we're going to be doing it on the 29th of April, which is Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And the theme is going to be for discussing our May TBRs for anybody who wants to do this, particularly in light of some of us are going to be participating in the Ever After-a-thon.
Okay.
So we're going to be doing
fun.
that. And special guest, Crystal,
Oh,
the
great.
architect of the whole general mishmash of the whole Ever After-a-thon is Crystal is going to be joining us. So the scheduling worked out for the 29th, Tuesday instead of Monday. But that's what we're doing. And I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that'll be great.
And hopefully she can answer some of my burning questions about how the point system works. And that gives me an extra day to work on my board of madness, you know.
I'm hoping that when we have the point turn-in sheet, that it has a field for like each way you can earn points, but it might just be add your points all together.
Well, I'm actually going to do my own spreadsheets.
Yeah,
like I'm going to do them the old-fashioned way, like with a ruler and a piece of paper, and then go to the library and Xerox them. And I mean, yeah, I mean,
I've got some hives going on. Don't know what I'm allergic to, but it's okay.
Oh, and the tiara check. I hope you noticed that it is in fact the mermaid tiara that you were so generous to give me. Appreciate it. Perfect. Okay, so that's the programming notes. So an hour late on Wednesday, and a day late, and hopefully not $1 short on the 28th. I was actually going to be on the 29th, and Crystal's going to be joining us. So I am very, very excited. Not that I'm not excited to have you, Abi Jean. Very excited to have you. And you, and you, and you. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my middle grades. And like I said, if they have a kind of theme or subgenre that you have some experience with or suggestions about, then jump in. And if anybody has any questions, jump in. I know Tara's off getting Girl Scout cookies or whatever. I picked up some Girl Scout cookies when I was out running around on Saturday. Okay, so what I have here, what?
Oh, I said you can't say no to the little Girl Scouts.
I mean, yeah, last time I went out and it was Boy Scouts and they were asking us to give them food for the Connecticut Food Bank. So I did that. And then and now there were Girl Scouts who want me to buy food from them. And I'm like, I can do that too. Perfect. I had the Boy Scouts next door and I'd like throw half my Girl Scout cookies to the food bank. Okay. So what we have here are 3 books by Terry Pratchett, or Sir Terry Pratchett. And these are the Johnny Maxwell trilogy. And we have Only You Can Save Mankind, which is, this is Johnny Maxwell's a 12-year-old, I think he's 12, might be 11 at this point. He is going to be, he thinks he's playing a video game. It's kind of like the last Starfighter in a way. He's playing a video game and he thinks it's just like fake aliens, but they're actually real aliens. And they're actually asking for, to be treated as they would be under international the human rights or sentient person rights. So this is middle grade, and it's about 200 pages, and it's fun. And we have a comment. If you see a comment and you want to share it, then go ahead and jump in anytime. Ana says the Girl Scouts gave me the shakedown during my last Walmart trip. Oh man, just.
Yeah, I haven't read Terry Pratchett, but I've heard a lot of really good things. And yeah, already, I guess, and that reminded me, I actually do have one YA. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Terry Pratchett, I don't actually like much of his stuff. I mean, just personal taste. But I remember when I was a little kid, I read The Carpet People, which is about like these little people. They have like this whole civilization in a shag carpet. And they have like this whole religion built around like when the great and terrible monster comes, and of course it's a vacuum cleaner. And I read it when I was a little kid, and then later I looked it up and I was like, oh, that was Terry Pratchett. Okay. Anyway, so that's the first book. The second one is Johnny and the Dead, which is about ghosts. And then the third one, which is my favorite of the trilogy, is Johnny and the Bomb, which is time travel.
Oh, nice.
So that's what I've got for middle grade.
And he wrote the Discworld series too, right?
He did. That was for adults.
That's like 40 books, I think.
At the very least. At the very least. He's like the Christine Feehan of... or she's the Terry Pratchett of... I don't know. Okay, so did you want to jump in on any of those?
No. I mean,
okay, I will say for science fiction, if you're looking for movies or TV series, I time travel is one of my things. That's why I'm participating as Team Traveler for the Ever Afterathon, and I love time travel so hard. And Travelers, which is a Canadian series that I don't know if it's still on Netflix.
Yeah, I just came across it last night, actually.
I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's good. Mm-hmm. It's by a couple of the same people who worked on like Stargate Atlantis, and Stargate Universe.
Really? Now I have to watch it.
I think it was Brad Wright and Jonathan Glassner. I think. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I enjoyed it, and I haven't watched it in a while, but I'm probably going to rewatch it soon. And for movies, there are a lot of time travel movies I like. If you are of a very romantic bent, then maybe Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour. And if you like the action movies, then Looper with Bruce Willis and I believe Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Emily Blunt. And I really like that one. I kept checking it out from the library, and then I found it at the $5 bin at Walmart. And I was like, yeah, I should probably have my own copy of this.
Yeah, okay. I'm a fan of time travel as well and time loops. I love a good time loop story.
Mm-hmm. Groundhog Day was comedy. Mm-hmm. And I love the time loop episodes that they do on different shows. They've done them on Star Trek. They've done them on Supernatural. They did the really great one on Stargate SG-1. And those are good. I like those as well. And Happy Death Day to Me, which is a classic of modern cinema. And okay, another YA I have is this. I just have the first volume of a 3-volume series, and that is The Illuminae Files by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. And I know Jay Kristoff is kind of a person that, but you can still enjoy the book. Now, this looks like a very long book, and it kind of is. However, this is one of the things I really like about it is creative book design. So a lot of these pages are not full wall-to-wall text. The book design is really cool. And this is one of those that's told through a series of transcripts and memos and news articles and things like that. So it's a really fun reading experience, especially if you've just had a certain surgery. And you're recovering.
I've heard of the Illuminae Files. Again, I haven't read it. So
it is about it's like a corporate dystopia in the far future across many planets. And this group of young people, I think they're supposed to be in their late teens, fighting back against it. And it's fun because I really like those kinds of, not exactly mixed media, but where they have
I would call that mixed media.
Mixed media, where they have the memos, the transcripts,
Yeah, I love it.
maps, whatnot.
And Paige
Okay.
said, I think he co-wrote the Long Earth series as well. I think she's talking about Terry Pratchett, probably.
Who's saying this, Paige?
Mhm.
Oh, that could be. And she loves the time loop episode of Supernatural. Well, that's the one where Dean keeps dying and dying and dying and dying in various creative ways. These tacos
He dies
taste.
so much throughout the series, I feel like.
Well, this was all like, I don't know, many, many times in the same episode. Hey, these tacos taste funny to you? And YA, this is my last YA, and I'm sure almost everybody's read it, even if they don't particularly care for it. She said, yes, she was talking about Terry Pratchett. Thank you, Paige. This is a classic. I think most people have certainly heard of it. Probably a lot of people have read it, even if they're not necessarily big science fiction people. And that is, of course, The Hunger Games. And if you really want to go more horror, you could read Battle Royale.
Yeah, I've heard of Battle Royale. I have read The Hunger Games when I was a YA. And when you're talking about all of these, it's making me think of the sci-fi stories that I read as a young person that I haven't thought about, or that I think about, but I haven't thought about to talk about here. But yeah.
Well, because
like,
I think because I am the Hunger Games came out. I couldn't have read it when I was YA because they came out when I was older. I am an older American, and 2008.
I know I'm the baby child of the group.
I don't think so. I think I think there are other people around who are younger than you. That's cool. Anyway, I first heard of the Hunger Games. I was not particularly plugged into YA. I heard about it because I was in the car and there was a news item about Donald Sutherland having been cast in this big casting announcement, and it was that Donald Sutherland had been cast in the Hunger Games. I'm like, okay, Donald Sutherland's cool. What is this thing they are calling the Hunger Games? So I looked into it. I was like, that sounds like something I would enjoy, and I did. And I read the prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It was okay. I wasn't that interested. But the newest one, Sunrise on the Reaping, of the Reaping, at the Reaping, under the Reaping, over the Reaping.
I don't know.
Sunrise, I think it's Sunrise on the Reaping, it's the prequel that's about Hamish Abernathy, and I'm much more interested in that because I think he's a more interesting character.
The one that just came out, right?
Yeah, I think within the last couple of months. Okay, so those are my middle grade and YA. So what you got?
Okay, so for my YA, let me see. Okay, so I have some notes down here. So if you see me looking down, that's why. So did I use this live show as an excuse to buy copies of some of my favorite books? Definitely, yes.
So a lot of motorcyclists like to go past, and I forgot to close the windows. So
I didn't hear anything. So, well, I got someone mowing their lawn out here, but so this is Ready Player One. You guys have probably heard of that. Have you heard of it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've read it.
Yeah, it's really good. So it's by Ernest Cline. First off, I have to say that don't watch the movie. It is the worst.
I haven't.
It's the worst book to movie adaptation that I think I've ever seen. They straight up butchered it.
Okay, hang on a second because we've got Paige is offering some. You go, Abi Jean, buy your favorites. Oh yeah, I have the dentist tomorrow, and I preemptively bought myself some treats. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so don't watch the movie. Stay away from the movie. It will ruin your ability to love and be loved.
Exactly. It will enrage you. Now,
it is the Manus, the Hands of Fate of the 21st century.
I've heard that people who've watched the movie who haven't read the book enjoyed it, but anyone who has read the book and understands what he's doing in the book, the movie just totally misses the mark. But as far as what this book is about, if you're someone who's interested in 80s pop culture, this is the book for you. So basically in the not so distant future, in 2044, I think, we have a dystopian world where overpopulation has kind of wreaked havoc on Earth, and we've got people living in, as you can see, these stacks is what they call them,
Yeah, they're like cargo containers and trailers and things like that.
Yeah.
But they're not trailers like nice trailers on the ground with lawns around them or anything. They're just
Right. So we've got a dystopian future. Things are looking really bleak. However, most people spend most of their time in the Oasis, which is a VI world. It's a utopia. And it's to the point where like people even have full-time jobs in the Oasis. So like they're really like spending a lot of their time there. Then our hero, which is his name is Wade. He's a teenager. He is like really interested in the creator of the Oasis, who created this elaborate like quest, I guess you could say, where he has all of these puzzles that and like tasks, I guess, you have to get through, and then whoever can get to the end first gets like a special prize, which is kind of like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory vibes a little bit.
well, yeah, because the special prize is like basically the whole wide world. I mean,
right, yeah. So it's a thing, and so it's very heavily about 80s culture because the creator of the Oasis was like obsessed with the 80s. And so lots of 80s trivia and everything. And it just follows Wade as he makes his way through, and you start to find out about different political corruptness and et cetera, et cetera. So it's really good.
And also, he's got to exercise his resourcefulness and his knowledge.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I would have been hesitated to recommend that because I read it, and as somebody who literally that was when I was a teenager, was in the 80s. Sure. I picked up on the references for the most part. I mean, I was a teenager. I lived overseas, so I didn't catch every single thing. But, I spent when I got back to the States, I spent about 15 years watching reruns. So like a graduate course in my own era. And so I thought I got a lot out of it because I recognized all the references. And it's interesting to hear somebody who's younger thinking, oh, yeah, they liked it too.
Yeah, and then that was one that actually Kevin had read and enjoyed, and then we listened to that one together a few years ago on a road trip, and so that was that. And we haven't reread it since then, but yeah. So that was my one YA. The rest of them are adult. So
okay. Well, I know you said you had a couple of romances to talk about.
Yes. Do you have any romances?
I do. I have one. I mean, some of these books have like some romantic relationships in them, but I have one that is explicitly a romance.
So I'll go ahead and start with romance then.
Please
do.
So
I'll start with the big blue alien in the room.
Oh, I didn't even think about Ice Planet Barbarians or Choosing Theo. Yeah,
I've got that one to talk about as well.
Nice. I got my own copy.
Perfect. You pulled it up then because I don't have a copy.
Oh, well, oh, I see it. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll talk about Ice Planet. So I don't have to talk too much about this because I think everybody in this group has definitely heard of Ice Planet at least and read it if they're interested. But you guys know that I'm a big Ruby Dixon fan. Tara says, I enjoyed Ready Player One movie, but I didn't read the book. Okay, yeah. So I definitely was talking about that. But anyways.
As a comparative experience, if you haven't.
Yes.
If you haven't read the book, then you don't think the movie's so bad, probably.
Yeah. So Ice Planet, I'm a big Ruby Dixon fan. I've read most of her backlist at this point. I'm trying to read all of it. So yeah, if you're going to start with Ruby, I would say to start with Ice Planet. And she's got essentially 3, technically 5 sci-fi series, and then she has 2 fantasy series. Her sci-fi series are all spin-offs of Ice Planet Barbarians. But yeah, just love it so much. So if anyone has any questions about Ice Planet, you can.
Paige is saying, I still need to read. I've read a couple of them, but not the first one. But, it's just kind of like they're on Kindle Unlimited, but I so much prefer reading books that I can hold in my hands.
Sure.
So I kind of just, when I see one at the library, I'll grab it. Paige says, I still need to read Ice Planet Barbarians. I read a few of her Corsair series, but I still need to get to IPB.
Okay.
It is not a huge time commitment, even though there are a lot of them. Mm-hmm. They just fly right past.
Yeah. I really like
in a good way.
Yeah. And Ruby Dixon did kind of like get me addicted to reading romance a little bit in the beginning,
Mm.
back in like 2020. But yeah, I love her Corsair series. It's interesting that you started with them. Like, what was your experience starting with Corsairs? Were you confused at all, or did you feel like you had enough world building?
Is that one of those spin-offs?
Yeah, it's kind of a spin-off. It's Space Pirates, so it's definitely feels different. It feels very different. So Ice Planet Barbarians, well, they're barbarians, so they're on like this primitive culture. Her other sci-fi series, which are her Corsairs, her Riz Diverse, they take place out in like the wider universe, and so they're more like what you'd expect from a sci-fi space situations.
So Paige, that question was that Abi Jean just asked was directed toward you, because I haven't read Corsair, so she was asking you. So
she says, I felt like I had enough world building and didn't feel like I was missing much of anything. Okay, great. Good.
This is great. I'm going to need to have you on here all the time when I'm doing a live stream, because I don't have to keep whipping out my glasses to read what people are saying.
Oh yeah, I can take care of that.
She's going to be my support person,
interpreter.
Yeah, you're going to have to move to Connecticut and help me cross the street. Okay, so do you want to continue?
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, since you brought it up, I'm just going to hold it up so people have a visual while you talk about choosing Theo.
Oh, yes. Okay. So that's the Clickanian series by Victoria.
Is that how you pronounce it? I've been wondering.
Yeah, I listened to the audio.
I didn't listen to it. This was a gift, by the way, from the lovely Nicole, who doesn't seem to be with us tonight, but maybe she'll watch the playback. Hi, Nicole.
Yeah, okay. I'm really looking forward to joining you guys on book 4. I've read books 1 through 3. So
that's right.
This one is like the kind of the opposite of Ice Planet Barbarians. So Ice Planet Barbarians takes place on a primitive world, which a lot of sci-fi or a lot of alien romances take that kind of primitive barbarian kind of feel.
And I'd like to point something out about that, is that in Ice Planet Barbarians, both the humans and the Ice Planet Barbarians are not native to the world. The humans they've both been trafficked from other planets in the universe, and they're converged on this space.
Yeah.
So the Ice Planet, the barbarians, if you're talking about the non-Terrans, have kind of evolutionary advantages in that cold environment. But
yeah,
I just wanted to point out that there isn't this disparity, because in this, there's a bit of a disparity, because it takes place on the planet that the people are kind of native to.
Right.
At least have been living there for a long time.
And
whereas the Earth people are kind of coming from our world.
Yeah.
At our time. So it's like they know about this until they get kidnapped.
Right. And they both have the same setup, which is pretty normal, or like pretty common, I should say, in alien romance of these women are abducted from Earth by bad aliens, and then they are rescued or end up in the hands of good aliens, which are going to be our heroes usually. Yeah. So the Clickanian series, that's the setup. And so this world is, it gives me Mass Effect vibes, in the sense that it's like urban, it's futuristic. And so that's enjoyable. And then we've got different like species there as well. They're all humanoids. Yeah. But it's a matriarchal society because of a devastating birth rate crisis that they're going through. And so these so it's matriarchal society, there's women in power, and then they have these interesting setups of basically of marriages. I guess I'm not going to get too much into it, but
I will point out that it is a matriarchal society, and women have most of the political power, but men are full participants economically, and like they're not an underclass exactly.
Oh yeah.
There's a certain preference for women in leadership roles, but men are participating in.
Yeah. So that one was really good. It starts with choosing Theo, where he's got these like scars, tattoos on him, and so he's always been perceived as like ugly. And so when our heroine comes and she's like, sexy tattooed man, he doesn't trust
She's
her.
like, nice tats, and he's like, they are my scars. They represent my trauma.
Yeah, so
I think they're cool.
So that's good. And then the second book, I didn't love that one as much. However, I do know that Nicole absolutely loved Freeing Luca.
I liked it too.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't read the third one yet. I think we were going to buddy read that one sometime this month in our copious free time. And
the third one,
and then I think we said you were gonna catch up to us after we were finished with that.
Yes, Tattoo Man.
Tattoo Man.
Yes.
Yeah. Scars, tattoo. We love it all.
Sorry. So the third one, I really enjoyed that one. I just read it not too long ago. Basically, the heroine's parents, it's called Saving Verico, and the heroine's parents were both like extreme bushwhackers. So she was like raised in the woods, no equipment, like just literally living off of the land. And so she has all of these skills, and then basically they end up in the woods together, and she ends up saving him, and romance ensues.
Oh, is he one of them metrosexual aliens where he's like focused on urban life and he's just like not really sure what to do with the wilderness?
Yes.
I just suddenly, I'm having trouble with my lighting because I suddenly looked like super green. And I know this is my mermaid tiara, but I don't actually want to look like I'm doused in seawater.
It's to contrast all the red that I've got going on over here. We're Christmas colors.
Okay, so and so this is the first book, which I have my own physical copy of because Nicole is awesome like that. She said, do you want vampires or aliens? And she wanted to surprise me. She said, vampires or aliens? And I'm like, bring me all the aliens. And she did.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I guess I'll just do the other two romances. Mm-hmm. So the next one is, so I read a couple this past week for this live show, just because I thought I'd use this as an excuse to read some sci-fi romances that have been on my TBR for a really long time. So some of them were duds, but I did have some really good ones. The first one is another alien one, and it's called Heart's Prisoner by Olivia Riley. And basically the heroine, this is a dark sci-fi alien romance. It's super slow burn if you're looking for slow burn. So there's like a glare, but the heroine is a behavior therapist, but not in like the way that you might think when I say that. She works with aliens to help them become integrated into like human society. And she's supposed to be like one of the best in her field. And she gets asked to come to this like super secret facility to work with this really difficult case. So that's our hero. He basically looks like the devil. he's like a reptilian alien, and he has been hostile and violent. And so she gets asked, and once she gets there, she starts realizing that there's some not so good things going on at this facility, and there's a lot of secrets, and so she has to kind of try to figure out what's going on. And and then there's a super slivering romance with the hero, who is her client.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Does the rest of humanity know about the aliens, or are they trying to learn how to integrate in a way that is?
They know.
Oh, okay. So they're not trying to integrate in a way that's secretive. It's more like alienation. Yeah.
Now,
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie or the TV show, but there was a movie from the 80s and a TV show from the 90s called Alien Nation. And it was about a cargo ship of enslaved aliens. And they were, trafficked by the bad guys, and they show up at Earth because they blew off course, or they had a rebellion. Anyway, they're ship ends up at Earth, and then they try to be integrated into society. It's like a more optimistic.
Okay.
It's better than District 9. I think it's like more optimistic. District 9 was kind of did not like that. But anyway, yeah. So, but people knew the aliens existed. So,
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah,
uh-huh.
I'll definitely have to watch. I'll definitely have to watch this back and make sure I get, or like all the Rex.
Well, Alien Nation, I would say just watch the movie. Don't bother with the TV series unless you really want to. But I think the that was James Caan from
I feel like they
he.
made a remake of that.
Oh, maybe they did. It was James Caan as the human. It was about a alien cop and a human cop who solved a crime together. And the alien cop was played by Mandy Patinkin in the original. And like I said, there was also a TV series in the 90s. But yeah, they might have done a remake of it. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Okay, are we ready to? Oh, My Own Romance.
Oh.
Maybe this is one of the ones you read and decided was a dud.
Maybe it is. Let's see.
This is sapphic, as they say. The Stars Too Fondly.
Oh, I have not read that, but I want to.
Hamilton. And it's very much like, in terms of the science, the science doesn't seem to be sciencing. I think I talked about this in a vlog. Whereas like the science doesn't seem to be sciencing, but actually it ends up being explained in the end. And it kind of comes across almost like in terms of structure and how the plot works and everything, it comes across a little bit like almost like an episode of Star Trek, except it doesn't take place that far in the future. And humanity has not actually gone to the stars that much because they were going to, and then this disaster happened, and what happened? And how can a bunch of plucky people in their 20s figure that out? And will they maybe fall in love with a hologram along the way?
A hologram? Ooh, that's interesting.
She is a hologram, and she is not. And there's a lot of like trans representation, non-binary representation, characters, embrace the rainbow. So
good.
It's good. I like it.
That one's on my list. I have one more romance.
Awesome.
So this one is not aliens. This one is humans. So we have Calamity.
There's a certain graphic resemblance there.
There is. So we have Calamity by Constance Fay. This one it's a adventure. It's a sci-fi adventure romance. It's a lot of fun. We basically have our heroine, who is the captain of this scouting ship, and she gets offered a job that seems too good to be true. And the catch is, yes,
Paige is validating you. I'm sitting far enough back that I can actually make out what people are saying.
There you go. So she is the captain of this dinky scouting ship. She gets offered this job that seems kind of too good to be true. And she's like, well, I'm just going to take it because like I, kind of need to. And the catch is that they're going to send along one of their own people. And the people who hired her they're one of the like top 15 families, which are like this is their political like structure. So they're really powerful people, and they send along one of their own, and that's the hero. So it's an enemies to lovers romance. A lot of fun. And this gave me, like, if you've ever seen the movie Solo, the Star Wars movie Solo.
I haven't seen that.
That gave me vibes. That's my favorite Star Wars movie. Love it so much.
Oh, I've never seen it. I should check it out.
Yeah, you should. Highly recommend. And also Firefly. If you've seen the show Firefly, kind of Firefly vibes a little bit. So yeah, it's definitely action-packed. And yeah, it's good. So that's
Tara's back and she's into it. She says, "Ooh, that sounds good." By the way, this is a kind of a comedy. It's not exactly a comedy. It's got rom-com vibes, a lot of banter. So, and Tara says she loves Fireflies.
Yes. Yeah, I need to rewatch that. I had a lot of fun with that. I kind of didn't like the main hero, but I liked everyone else.
Yeah, he was kind of insufferable.
Oh,
Mel.
Oh, and yeah, so I already started the next book in the series of Calamity. The following one is Fiasco. So that one's about a bounty hunter. So enjoying that.
Nice. Okay. I've got some classic works I can talk about.
Yeah.
This is older. Okay, so we're going back. I think the oldest one I picked, I kind of reread some of the Heinlein juveniles that I read when I was like a juvenile myself. And yeah, I mean, Heinlein, that was kind of before he became somebody who was, depending on the book he was writing, either a libertarian or a fascist. But, I decided that I didn't feel good about recommending any of them. But if you are going to read Heinlein, I would say read like Half Spacesuit Will Travel or Podcane of Mars or some of those older ones that he wrote kind of for a YA audience, although they didn't call them that then. Okay, now what I have here, this is good, especially if you are a mystery reader, and that is Isaac Asimov, and this is a double volume. There are 2 novels in here because they're short. The Caves of Steel and The Naked Sun. And there was a third book, Robots of Dawn, that came out decades later. These are from the 50s, and then like in the 80s, he went back to that. And this is about a robot, that's what they're calling them in the book, robots, who gets together with a human to solve a crime. And in both books, there's a crime that needs to be solved. And I actually, Caves of Steel, that's people on Earth. Earth's kind of, played out. And so people who live on Earth kind of live in these, giant steel buildings. It's like a whole city in a building, as the environment's kind of crashed. And so that's Caves of Steel. And then I really liked The Naked Sun because humans have also spread out into the stars, and so far they haven't encountered any other sentient life. But The Naked Sun takes place, so you have these different worlds where they have different societies based on the world and the people who colonized it and everything. And I really liked The Naked Sun, and let me get the copyright date for you because I know you love that. And Caves of Steel was 1953, and The Naked Sun was 1957. And The Naked Sun, it's a very low density planet, low population density planet. So everybody's got, it's a farming planet, but most of it's mechanized. So everybody's got these huge, like many, many hundreds of square miles estates. And everybody lives by themselves. As you say. So they don't like being in the same room with other people. That really freaks them out. They do all of their communication long distance.
Yep, I can relate.
Yes, exactly. And this is presented as a problem rather than,
a solution.
Yeah. So it's like they like they get married and they basically reproduce through artificial insemination and so on.
Okay.
And or maybe they'll have like relations so that they can conceive children, but they just like try to limit it. And the children are raised by like robot nannies who are nice and everything. They're nice. They're not creepy and weird and cold. But and then it's like somebody's murdered and they're like trying to figure out, well, why would anybody murder anybody? Nobody hangs out. Everybody's got more than enough money. What would be the motivation for murder? It's not going to be romantic jealousy because they don't care.
True.
So that's what they're trying to figure out, and that was like my favorite of the 3. So I was like, yeah, I want to move to that world. I want to have a giant estate and not have to talk to anybody unless I agree to. Okay, and then I have another one, and this started as a science fiction, like longer short story by Isaac Asimov, and it was later, with some cooperation from Isaac Asimov, expanded into a novel by Robert Silverberg, and that is Nightfall. And I'll get some copyright dates here. And the premise of this book, somebody doing some dishes?
Oh, sorry. Kevin's just getting something set up a few feet from me.
This is 1990, and I don't know. It doesn't really seem to say when the original short story was written. I know there was a film adaptation in the 70s, so... Oh, wow. The original short story was actually published in 1941.
Okay.
It would have been a very early work by Isaac Asimov. I really enjoyed Illuminae Files when I first read it, says Terra Talks. I think she's catching up with us. Yeah, I liked it. So that's why I wrecked it. Anyway, so the premise of this Nightfall is that we have a society that's probably about the same level of technological development as Earth in 1941, or even the 1980s when it was updated. And they have one, two, three, four, five, six suns. And so it's never night. It's never fully dark on their planet. It's always at least some light because there's always some sun. And so that's kind of had some interesting effects on their not their technological development, but their understanding, their cosmology, their understanding of the universe.
Oh,
They've never seen stars because there's too much ambient light from
okay.
the suns. So when they don't really think too much about the sky, and when they do, um, it doesn't occur to them that there are these bodies beyond their own solar system until they invent computers so they can start doing more sophisticated computation. And then they start to realize that, wait a minute, there's some stuff going on with gravity that doesn't really make sense unless there's more stuff out there than we can see. They've never thought about it before. And meanwhile, there is a religion in this world that says that there is a catastrophe coming. There's a huge catastrophe coming, and that it's happened before, and you need to prepare for it, and you need to, like, get right with the supernatural and everything. And of course, the scientists scoff at this. It turns out, though, this is something that's happened before, and that is there is going to be an eclipse, and
Oh,
so they're
yeah.
going to be plunged into darkness. And this has happened before, and the religious the priests know about it, and the scientists are coming to realize it. And sorry, there's even an archaeologist who is going through a city, and she goes down and finds that there are these consecutive layers of debris, like something leveled the city like every 5,000 years or so. And it's when it's nightfall, and they see
Oh,
stars, and they realize that there's like this, they don't know what to do with darkness. That at the very first thing in the book is this sort of amusement park ride that takes people through a tunnel of darkness, and they think it's going to be fun, like going to a haunted house or something. But people are like, literally, some of the people who go to this are literally losing their minds over the darkness because they're just not used to it.
yeah, I can see that. It makes me think
And
of the first like musical dissonance that was played in the theater. I can't tell you a date.
oh, there was like a freaking riot.
A riot. Like people went insane.
Because
Just
there was yeah, and there was like a riot from, like, and also the rites of spring. And I mean, yeah. Oh, Tara said yes, she was catching up. But anyway, this is just so interesting. And that's the thing about, a lot of people say about Isaac Asimov, and Foundation series is really good too. And I think that was recently made into a TV series, which I haven't checked out yet. I want to. Um, is that he's like more an idea man than a plotter.
okay.
He comes
Yeah.
up with these interesting ideas, and that's why he wrote a lot of short stories and so on.
Mm.
He comes up with these interesting ideas, and this one is good because it was a short story that was then fleshed out by somebody who is both an idea man and a guy who writes plots, and that's Robert Silverberg.
Yeah, I've heard of Isaac Asimov. I did not realize that he was like that classic, like that he was writing in the 40s and 50s. I
Yeah, he
didn't
was born in
realize.
1920,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
he died, I think, in the 90s. He got AIDS from a blood transfusion.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
And he was able to live for quite some time, considering that, he was already in his 60s or 70s when he was infected. So, but yeah, he's, considered one of the giants. Okay. Do you want to present?
Sure. Okay, so I have 3 more. I guess I'll go with Project Hail Mary. So, yes, this is by
I haven't
Annie
read
Weir.
it. I haven't read it. But when I asked my
You
sister,
need to.
my sister reads a lot of science fiction, and I said, what would you suggest as an entry point for people? She says, Project Hail Mary is pretty good. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So I'm glad you're
Yes,
bringing it up.
I love this book. I've read it. This is one I've buddy read with Kevin. We've read it twice. Just recently, we reread it, like maybe a couple months ago. Really love it. Highly, highly recommend the audiobook for this.
Mm-hmm.
If you are someone who does audiobooks.
Hang on a
If
second.
if you know why, though, don't spoil it.
I don't know why. I've heard that. I haven't done that. The one my sister recommended was The Martian, not Project Hail Mary, but same author.
Okay, Paige is with me. She says, "Oh my gosh, you need to read Project Hail Mary." Sock. Yes. So it's really hard. I can't
busting out the name. At least she didn't use my full name, because like when your mom is like, "Sock, could you do the dishes?" versus "Sock Marionette, do the dishes now." At least Paige wasn't like, "Sock Marionette, read this book."
Yeah, drop everything. So I can't say too much about this without spoiling it, but I will try to set it up. So we start out, a man, he wakes up on a spaceship. He's alone. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know how he got there or what he's doing there or where he is. He doesn't know anything. His memories are completely shot. And the book follows him as it's told in dual timelines as he's starting to get his memories back. So we have him, in the past, and then him at the spaceship, and it just follows him figuring out who he is, where he is, what he's doing there. And it's really good. I know that that's not a lot to go off of, but it's really good. I highly recommend. It's emotional. It's funny. It's good. So highly recommend the audio for this if you do audio.
I don't really, but
I know you don't, but I do know some people do.
Yeah, but other people do, and it's good to get that recommendation, because sometimes I was just seeing somebody who downgraded a book because the audiobook wasn't any good. So nice to know it works in the other.
Yeah, so I will say though that this is science heavy. So that could be a boon for some people or not, but this is a science heavy sci-fi. And I feel like I would recommend you'll want to at least have like high school level physics and chemistry to best enjoy this, I think, because I think it could be easy to get overwhelmed with the science. I think he does do a pretty good job of explaining it, but if you don't like science, then this is not going to be.
I like hard sci-fi, and that reminds me, I was thinking about Robert Heinlein, and he wrote a lot of short stories. He wrote a lot of very technical sci-fi sometimes, not always. And there was this story he wrote called All You Zombies. And it was funny because I was watching a movie a few years ago. I was enjoying it. It was a time travel science fiction deal. And I was like, wait a minute, this sounds an awful lot like a Robert Heinlein short story. It's one of those movies where they didn't have the credits weren't up front. So I looked it up, and it actually was based on All You Zombies. It's called Predestination. Nice. Ethan Hawke. And basically it was like the old novelty song, I'm My Own Grandpa.
Oh God.
Only applied to time travel. And it was a fun movie. So yeah.
Oh, and Paige says, just trust us. It's good. Got the finger wagging going on here.
Okay, I have a couple of older ones that are kind of considered classics. They are now. I mean, it's hard for me to think of them as classics because I think they were published within my lifetime. Nope, this is 1969. Missed it by that much. Published the year before I was born. And I'm hesitant to recommend this. Huh?
Paige says that was a trippy movie. She's seen it.
Oh, nice. Yeah. But it was funny because I was watching it. I was like, wait a minute, this seems really, really familiar. Wasn't this All You Zombies? Okay. And this is one I kind of was hesitant about would it be a good entry point. It might not be a great entry point because it's very, it's one of those that kind of throws you into the story. However, it is a good book. It is a classic. It is a classic for a reason. And that is The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. And yes, Californian. She wrote this book, and this, like I said, was published in 1969. There's some follow-up work she did. The idea is that there's like a loose association of planets, and they're trying to bring this one planet, Winter, which is kind of more of a they're not a pariah planet or anything. They just tend to be kind of isolationist. They're trying to bring them into this loose federation, this trading group, and news and views. So they want to go talk to them, and the people on this planet, they're all, I think, descended from humans, But on this planet, they can actually choose their gender, even their biological sex. So, like, you could go from being the person who, I mean, they bear alive young, like they're basically humans. So you could go from being the person who is pregnant and carries that child and gives birth to that child, and then like 5 or 10 years later, you could go to the other side and be the person who impregnates somebody else.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, how does gender work when people can choose which gender they want to be? Like, not just the social role of gender, but the biological role as well. What does that mean for parenting? What does that mean for gender roles as a societal construct? And
That
so,
sounds really interesting.
and Paige says, another good one, Sock. I guess I read more science fiction than I thought.
When was that one published?
1969. Like I
Wow.
said,
That's
it's
awesome.
not quite within my lifetime. It's only a year older. So yeah. So
really interesting.
okay, I have another older one. This one is, I think this is from the 70s. Okay, this is Octavia Butler, and she is, unfortunately, she died young. 1987 was the first book in this trilogy. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us. She died kind of young. She's an African-American woman from Pasadena, California, actually. And she wrote a lot of science fiction. Parable of the Sower was one, which I decided not to recommend at this time, and Kindred. And the one I am by her that I am going to recommend. Now, this is a compilation volume called Lilith's Brood. And the first book is called Dawn, D-A-W-N. And I'm just going to go ahead and read the summary for you. I've read the first one. I haven't read the other two, but it's really good. I'm into it. Lilith Ayapo is in the Andes, mourning the death of her family when war destroys Earth. Centuries later, she is resurrected by miraculously powerful, unearthly beings, the Oankali. Driven by an insatiable need to heal others, the Oankali are rescuing our dying planet by merging genetically with mankind. But Lilith and all humanity must now share the world with uncanny, unimaginably alien creatures, their own children. This is their story.
Okay.
So it's like the Oankali have saved they basically found the humans who survived the war, put them in suspended animation while they healed the Earth. And now they've brought them out of suspended animation to repopulate the world. But what's the cost? What's the trade-off?
Yes, that's so interesting. Like, and I feel like all these like classics, they're using sci-fi stories to make social commentary, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we've come away from that and just gone to like pure entertainment.
Yeah,
but that's kind of true.
People still use it that way. I mean, that was kind of like the original Star Trek series. They did a lot of social commentary. So, you know.
Well, and that's true for like, that's a literary trend like in every genre. But
the other thing is what has survived to the current time? What do we still read? What do we still watch?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, Lost in Space was just utter escapist spectacle. It didn't have any social commentary, and we don't really talk about it that much.
That's a good point.
Every once in a while, there's a half-hearted remake, and usually then they try to inject some social commentary. But I mean, it's like, you know, one of the number one songs of 1969 was Sugar Sugar by the Archies. And everybody's like, why don't they make excellent classics all the time, like The Doors? And it's like, well, they made a whole bunch of BS that nobody talks about anymore, nobody listens to. So,
yeah,
because it doesn't say anything to us now. Okay, we have a comment.
That's a really good point.
She says, I really enjoyed Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I am pretty sure it's sci-fi. Oh, yes, absolutely. I need to try some Octavia Butler. Yes, Scythe by Neil Shusterman. That's YA. And yeah, that is absolutely science fiction. Yeah.
What's that one about, Sock?
Okay, the idea is, and I had a little trouble with the politics of it because I couldn't see either side being happy with it. It's like a compromise on the subject of abortion. And the idea is that, was it? No, that was something else by Neil Shusterman. That was Unwound. That's a different series.
Oh, Unwound. I mentioned that earlier, I think. Is that the one where the kids, or like where there was a YA that I read when I was a YA where the children who are like they get to like age 12, and if they're not selected, then they get unwound, and then
Yeah,
all
that
of
was
their,
Schuster. Yeah,
yeah,
she's talking about. I was confusing that with Scythe. So, same author, different series. And Scythe is, yeah, that's about like these. That's one of those deals where they know if I'm remembering it correctly. Tara, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I am probably talking out of my ear about things I don't know anything about, which is going to be awesome
world
because utopian world where science bring down the population. Yeah, I think it's like this thing where basically a computer spits out a person's name and the scythe has to go unalive them, remove them from the population, as Tara put it. If I'm remembering that correctly. Anyway, yeah,
well,
yeah, it was Unwound was the one I was confusing the two, but they were both.
okay. Oh, and the other one I was remembering, I don't know if it's any good or not. I just remember it from childhood. I think it was called Found, and it was about like a plane crash. These people, yeah, I don't know. But anyways,
I think I might have read that recently.
Yeah, and I think I remember when I got we had like a librarian come to our school, and she like was teaching us like, oh, you can go to the library and you can check out these CDs of these book tapes. And yes, I was a CD child, not a tape child, but
oh yeah, I listened to books on tape when I used to work. I'd listen to books on tape, and they were literally books on tape. In fact, that's how I found.
Kevin,
That's how I found Nightfall. It was actually I had that, and it was one of those where they, in order to fit more information on the tape, they just did it mono. Like it was stereo, but like they had two tracks running simultaneously, so you'd switch it over to all being on the left track or the right track. That way they could fit twice as much information on the tape. Paige says, I'm sorry I have to get going and help Dan make some dinner. I'm going to catch the last few on playback. Nice. Great list of books, both of you. So happy I was able to chat with you all for a bit. It was nice to see you. I know this is not always a great time for Paige. So bye. And Tara said before that, yeah, she said, yes, Sock. And Tara says, I also enjoyed Invictus by Ryan Groudon. I don't know that one at all. The only Invictus I know is the movie about South Africa. Just different deal. Yeah, Tara said yes, Sock. So I guess she said yes, Sock. You are pulling things out of your ear. No, she's okay. I need to take a moment to check some copyright dates because I'd like to do this in the order they were published. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye, Paige. Thanks for coming.
So, what'd you have up next?
Yeah, so Paige, you're gonna miss this.
Well, she's gonna watch the playback. Hi, Paige of the future.
Okay, so I'm really excited to talk about this. I want to try to get, I try to get as many people to read this series as I can, but I don't know if you guys are the right audience for it. So, but yeah. This is another one I read with my husband. We've read it. We're on our third, like, read through right now. But nice. We've got Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman.
Never heard of it.
Okay, so I'm going to set this down so I can... Okay, so first off, it's a lit RPG, and you guys have heard me mention lit RPGs before. I'll explain what it is. It's a new genre that it combines sci-fi and fantasy mechanics, or sci-fi and fantasy elements with RPG role-playing game mechanics. So think like a D&D character sheet or a video game. This is basically the literary version of a role-playing game or a video game. It's a lot of fun. So that means that characters have, or like all of our characters there, they have like stats. So like +2 strength, dexterity, whatever. They might have an inventory system. They might have like a HUD or a heads-up display where they can actually see or interact with, like, you know, computer programming in their brain or through their eyes or whatever. And they sometimes will have like, or probably usually will have like special abilities, and they continue to gain experience and like level up and get stronger. So that's the genre and the concept. So pretty indisputably, Dungeon Crawler Carl is like the best in the genre right now. Like, it's really strong. So I will. So yeah, I'll go ahead and give you the synopsis that I wrote down.
Okay. Now, I have a question. Is this the name of the series or the name of the first book of the series, or
both.
okay?
Both. Yeah, by Matt Denneman. Okay, so after an apocalyptic event, survivors are given the choice between entering the mysterious world dungeon or taking their chances on the barren surface. Carl and his cat, Princess Donut, who later gains the ability to speak, end up going in, and they quickly discover that the world dungeon is an intergalactically televised game show where contestants must survive 18 levels of puzzles, monsters, and sometimes other contestants that increase in complexity and difficulty as they go down. So the story is about Carl and Donut navigating the dungeon and the people they meet along the way. So I just wanted to write down something for that because I didn't want to get too caught up in explaining the setup. But yeah, so we have an intergalactically televised bloody game show that Earth gets forced into, basically. And if you want to survive, you have to play. And so it's really good. It has dark humor, and it's got cartoonish. There is a lot of violence, but it's like cartoony violence, if that makes sense. I am pretty sensitive to violence, and like I have no problem with these books. So, but it does have dark humor. So if you're not into that, then this is not going to be the vibe. But I love it. I love the talking cat. Like, just a lot of fun. Highly recommend. And I highly recommend the audiobook for that one as well. Jeff Hayes, the narrator, he's the best. Like, this is the best audio acting I've ever heard. Like, so good. So.
Okay. Now, I have one. This is kind of straddling the border between science fiction and horror. And if you've seen the movie, again, this is one of those where it's not exactly going to. The movie was, it could have been so good, and it was not. I mean, it was fine as a movie, but it was like, it did not have what I liked about the book. And that is World War Z by Max Brooks. And the movie was just kind of like a straight zombie movie. Like, there's a plague of zombies, and you have this World Health Organization doctors trying to fix it. The book is kind of that, but what it is it's about a journalist who's writing an oral history. I think that's literally the subtitle. It's called World War Z, an oral history of the zombie war. And so it's presented like an oral history book. So you've got these interviews that this journalist historian conducts with various people who had various roles in the zombie war. And it talks about like that. And they could have done the movie like a documentary, and they chose not to. They went with the expensive CGI route instead of telling the very human stories that you get in the book. So I just really, really like it. And like I said, because it's zombies and so on, I mean, they do describe these people remembering trauma of fighting zombies and surviving a zombie war. And so there is that horror element to it, and there is going to be descriptions of gore, but it is very humanized, obviously, because it's people remembering how they survived. And it's just a really good book. Max Brooks did an excellent job.
That does sound really good. I went through a zombie phase when I was younger, but anymore, I just can't do zombie flicks because the gore. I can't do it anymore. I'm too,
Yeah,
but
I mean, there are discussions of gore because I mean they're fighting a war in general. But if you read world histories of World War II, you're going to get the same. Right. You're going to get gore as well. So it's kind of like that level of description.
I can handle it in books for the most part anymore, as long as it's not like American Psycho level of, which I have read. Yeah. As long as it's not that kind of level of graphic, like I can handle it in books. It's because they make the movies nowadays, the CGI and everything, it's so real that like, even though I know that it's fake, my brain, like my eyes, like do not know that it's fake. My ears do not know that it's fake.
Well, some of that CGI to me does look fake in a way that practical effects don't. So yeah.
Well, but I know CGI, whatever, like just whatever they do, the sights and the sounds, it's like it's gotten too realistic for me.
It's too well. I mean, and when you see something like that, whether it's CGI or practical effects, it's very immediate. You're like looking at it and going, oh my God, that's blood and guts. That belongs on the inside. Whereas when you're reading it in a book, there's that level of distancing that you can get.
Yes, exactly.
It's not like like literally in your face.
Yeah, and it's only as vivid as you imagine it.
Mhm, mhm. You
You
can
know,
choose not to.
yeah,
You have more of a choice to,
yeah.
while you're reading.
But that does
Okay.
sound really good though, and it's
Mhm,
another mixed media one. It sounds really good.
mhm. There's a thing. Okay, do you have any more or?
Yes, I think I have. Yeah, I have one more. So this one you guys have heard me talking about recently because I reread it recently in preparation for the sequel. So we have Space Opera by Catherine M. Valenti. So space opera, by the way, if people don't know, is a term that is it's like space soap opera. It's like a soap opera that takes place in space. So because I didn't know that way back when, and so anyways,
Well, that term has been applied to Star Wars,
yeah, Star
and
Wars,
it usually
Firefly.
it's supposed to be science fiction that actually takes place in space, like characterized by battles and interpersonal drama and whatever. But it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it was like you had horse operas, that was westerns, and you had soap operas, and that was contemporary interpersonal drama, and then you had space operas, which were
thank you for enlightening me.
well, you already had enlightened yourself, so I just
um,
wanted to give a couple of examples people would be familiar with.
yes. So Catherine Valenti, she's a wordsmith. The writing itself is more of the star of the show than the actual story, which some people that bothers them. Some people are really into it. I'm one of the people who's really into it. Um, and she's funny. She's not afraid to say what she thinks. And so yeah, basically what this is about, we have two kind of 40-year-old washed up rock stars, Decibel Jones and Ort St. Ultraviolet, and they're tasked with competing in an intergalactic song competition, think Eurovision, but on an intergalactic scale, to determine the fate of the human species. And so, yeah, it's just that story. It's really good. She made me a fan of Eurovision. uh, which I think is great. So at the beginning of each chapter, she has included like a reference to a Eurovision song. I recommend listening to those songs as you read. It really increased my enjoyment of it. Um, and yeah, it kind of makes me think of the Rick and Morty episode Get Swifty, if anybody's into Rick and Morty, but that's basically the kind of
Agree
same.
about why not? Oh, Tara says I watched the movie but haven't read the book. I think she's talking about World War Z,
Yeah.
unless there's a movie of space opera.
No, there isn't, as far as I know.
Couldn't find anybody who could sing well enough.
And so what else is there? So oh yes, so she takes a lot of inspiration from Hitchhiker's Guide. So if you're into that, you might like this. But
Well,
yeah,
when
so
you were saying the names of these washed up stars, all I could think of was Hot Black Desiato from Restaurant at the End of the Universe. So,
yeah.
Hot Black Desiato. Yeah, Tara, the book is a much different experience from watching the movie because it is presented like documentary kind of style. And I think they could have done that with the movie and they chose not to. So, okay. I'm going to the dentist tomorrow, and this is for actual work as opposed to my cleaning, which was a few weeks ago. And when I was getting my cleaning done, I asked my dental, is it hygienist or hygienist? I never can remember how that is pronounced.
I don't know.
Hygienist, my dental hygienist, the lady who cleans my teeth. I know she reads science fiction, so I asked her if she had a recommendation. And it turns out it's a book I like. It's a book I own. And when I mentioned it to my sister, she's like, oh, yeah, that's a good one, too. And that is Oh by Hugh Howey. And this was originally published as a series of short stories and novellas in as Kindle Direct. I don't know if Kindle Direct is still something that happens or if that's been subsumed into Kindle Unlimited. But
well, I know they just got rid of Kindle Vella. So
this might have been like a precursor to that. We're talking like going back like 15 years ago or more. And this is the Wool Omnibus. This is volume 1. And the sequels are Shift and Dust. And Wool takes place in a silo. And it's a huge silo that is home to a population. They don't give any specific numbers, but it's a lot of people live there. And as far as they're concerned, the silo that they live in is the world, and it always has been. And when somebody does something that is essentially, when they do something that is considered criminal, they're sent out to clean. And what happens is the silo has these cameras outside of it that show the outside world, which is a desolate wasteland. And because the desolate wasteland, there's all this dust and dirt and stuff that accumulates on these cameras, and every once in a while somebody will do something. They'll commit murder, or just do something that they consider treason or antisocial, and they'll be sent out to clean. They'll be put into an environmental protection suit and sent out with wool. There's just like steel wool, and they'll go out with the wool to clean off the lenses. That's like they're exiled, and it's understood that they're going to die within a few minutes of being exiled.
Oh.
But there's this like last thing that they do, which is clean off these lenses so that people can get a decent view of the outside world, which is, like I said, it's desolate trash. And that's what these are. So it's a dystopia because obviously there's a lot of social control going on. And in fact, one of the things you can, even if you speculate about the outside world beyond what you can see on the screen, that is considered treasonous.
Wow.
And you will be exiled for doing that. And this is about how does that social pressure build up? What happens? Is there going to be a rebellion? And there's actually a TV adaptation. I believe it's on Amazon. You're very manly. It's a loud motorcycle. Tara's saying she has to head out.
Oh. Hi, Tara.
Hi, Tara. Well, we're going long here. I really enjoyed hearing your thoughts on sci-fi books. I need to read more from that genre.
Thank you for coming, Tara.
That's just what I'm hoping, that some of these will strike your interest. Anyway, so I actually was going to just page through this to see if I thought it was accessible, and it is. And I just got into it, and I ended up reading it and asking for. I own this book. I got it at one of the library sales a few months ago. I actually asked for the subsequent 2 books, which I've read before, and I want to reread them. The second one is like, how did this come to be? And like I said, there is a TV series based on this on Amazon. So if you have Amazon Prime, it would be included in your membership. I haven't watched it yet, but I probably will.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm going to check out the show, if nothing else.
Okay, I have a couple more.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
Okay. I have a couple more by the same writer, and that is Blake Crouch. And this is Recursion. He also wrote Dark Matter, which has become a TV series, but I can't remember who. Yeah.
Dark Matter was on my list for a long time, and then I didn't know if it would be okay for me or not. I don't know how dark it is, like thematically.
Well, I mean, it is kind of dark, is that you have all of these guys who are the same guy but from parallel universes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they're all competing for the same family, because some of these diversions from the parallel universes took place like within the last few days or something. They have the same memories all the way up to a certain point, and they're all competing for the same surviving family. Anyway, I haven't seen the movie, but this is Recursion, which is he writes these kind of thrillers with a technological sci-fi speculative aspect. Okay. And I like them. Recursion is about somebody is trying to develop it's a dual timeline. Somebody's trying to develop a treatment for Alzheimer's, and she ends up creating this wave of what they call false memory syndrome. And what it is it keeps resetting the universe, and then some people have these echoes of their old lives that they remember, and that drives them nuts. Or they're insisting that they have relationships that they don't have, and everybody thinks they're a crazy stalker, and people remember buildings that never existed. It would be like if you woke up tomorrow and it turned out 9/11 never happened, but you could remember 9/11 happening, or at least you had vague memories of it happening, but it never did because maybe somebody went back in time and fixed that, or whatever it was, whatever the reset was. But you'd be like, wait a minute, this is like this big cataclysmic event that has affected the last 24 years of our lives, 23 and a half years of our lives. And what you're telling me it never happened, but I remember it very clearly. It's like the Mandela effect across like an entire planet. Okay.
Yeah,
Also,
that sounds good.
and this is also by Blake Crouch, and this is kind of horror science fiction. And this is like when you were talking about Project Hail Mary, I was thinking about this kind of story because I really love these kinds of stories. It's the ontological mystery, like you wake up and you don't know where you are or why you're there. This is kind of like that, except this guy goes to, he actually does remember how he got to the place where he is. He just can't understand why he can't call his wife or like have any contact with the outside world, even though this town seems perfectly normal. And that's also by Blake Crouch. And this one's called Pines. And it's a series called the Wayward Pines series. And that was made into a TV series. I think it only lasted a season. It was on Hulu. And I don't think it was a Hulu original. Maybe it was. It starred Matt Dillon and Juliette Lewis, among others. Anyway, it's really good and I liked it.
Nice. I'll definitely have to check out some Blake Crouch, I think.
Okay. And I have one more, just one more. And this is more kind of like, science fiction is a genre. This is kind of more like literary science fiction or general fiction that is science fiction. But, if you go into a library and they have a separate section for science fiction, which I did the other day, I went to the science fiction section and got something. But this was actually with the general adult fiction. It is so good. It is so, so good. And that is Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. He's the guy who wrote All the Light We Cannot See.
I haven't heard of him.
Huh?
I haven't heard of him.
Oh, okay. I haven't read All the Light You Cannot See. It was a big book a few years ago. I think this came out 2 or 3 years ago. I don't remember. And it takes place in 3 different timelines: past, present, and future. And it's just really good. I really liked it. 2021. Oh, there's another one that's I wouldn't recommend watching the movie because it's got problems. I had my own copy of it. I should have brought it out, and that's Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. Not David Mitchell, the British comedian. David Mitchell, the British novelist. And anyway, this one is just, I don't know. It's set in Constantinople in the 15th century, in a small town in present-day Idaho, and on an interstellar ship decades from now. Anthony Doerr's gorgeous third novel is a triumph of imagination and compassion, a soaring story about children on the cusp of adulthood in worlds in peril who find resilience, hope, and a book. Anyway, it's so good, you guys. It is just so good. I'm saying you guys, and I think we're the only ones left. I think everybody else has.
Maybe people will watch the replay.
Oh, people will watch it back. Yeah, I'm sure they will. But it's really good. And it looks long, and it is. It's like 618 pages. But there's a lot of like for one thing, every time there's a chapter change, there's like 3 blank pages for every chapter change. And there's also like excerpts. Like here we go from page 429. 1, 2, 3, almost a full page of text. And we finally pick up again on page 437. So like there's a lot of like blank pages and short pages. So even though it's 618 pages, it's not really 618 pages. Sort of, kind of, not exactly. Anyway, the box is empty.
We did it.
It was done.
Yeah. When we were talking about like mind screwy stuff, there's this movie called Coherence. I highly recommend it. It will mess with your brain. Basically we have these people, it's contemporary. Basically we have these people who are, well, sci-fi, in a house party, and weird stuff starts happening. So like,
oh, I think I might have heard of this. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so like some people go outside and weird stuff starts happening. When they come back, things are not as they remembered it. And yeah, it's really good. So definitely
Yeah.
recommend.
I have heard of it. I haven't watched it yet, though.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much.
Yes, that's always the stroll, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that's it then. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I don't suppose you read a lot of horror based on your dislike of gore, so you can't
I
quote most.
well, first off, thank you for having me on. And
Oh,
I love talking about sci-fi. I love sci-fi. So
maybe
yeah.
we could just do another one.
I don't know if I have more sci-fi book recs, but so horror. Okay, Mona Awad is like
No. I was talking about for a future episode.
no, I know, but I sorry, that just came to mind because she's like really the only horror writer that I am into. Other than that, I'm not really big on horror. So,
Okay,
not I wouldn't be the one for horror, but there might be someone.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody's still here live, watching it live, but if you're watching it back, just a reminder that midweek motivation is going to be at 3:00. This is midweek motivation for April. It's going to be 16th. It's going to be at 3:00, not 2:00. And the next book talk with Sock is not going to be on Monday the 28th. It's going to be on Tuesday the 29th. Talking about May TBR, particularly Ever Afterathon, although anybody who's not doing Ever Afterathon but wants to talk about their May TBR is certainly, I hope you join us and discuss. And Crystal's going to join us as the architect of the Ever Afterathon. So yeah, that should hopefully be a good time. And like I said, I'll work on my board of madness and my spreadsheets and just really just get way into it. And then that and tiaras will be my whole personality.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for everything. And I will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.